Welcome in the fourth section of our course. In this section, we'll be focusing on collections in and their immutability. So in the functional programming world, immutability is a very important aspect. And also, Scala collections are designed in this way. So in the first video, we'll be looking at the collections that are immutable, and also we will see how they work with mutable versions. Then we'll be looking at the monadic operations like map, flat map, fold, and reduce that are available on those functional collections. Third video will be about variance. We'll be focusing on covariance and contravariance, and we'll understand those types together with collections as well. Finally, we'll see how to make our collections lazy. And those collections will be called streams. We'll be focusing on them in the video number 4. This is a video about collections, and we'll be looking at the sequence, list, vectors, map, and set. We'll see a version that is immutable and also mutable. So we'll be using list as traversable collections, we'll be using map, and we'll compare immutable and mutable collections. So let's start from the simple test. So we have a list and we want to be able to should add elements to immutable list. So we will create a list and assign it to the val. So it means that it is immutable reference. And let's say that we want to add first element to this list. How we can do it? We have that specific operator in Scala that is appending element to immutable list, but we need to assign the result that will be new list to new list reference. So here, if you see an assertion, you can see that list will still be empty. We didn't add this element to the source list, but we created new one that is also immutable with list and all elements that we appended. So the new list will have only one element, that is the first one. So let's start the test and see if that's work as expected. We can see that our test passed. But sometimes adding to immutable list could be a bit inefficient because we need to copy all elements every time we are modifying that list. So for that purpose, we have a list buffer. So if we are sure that this list buffer will be accessed by one thread in a safe way, we can use mutable list buffer and just appending elements to that list buffer. And we will see that at the end, we can transform that list buffer to immutable list. And then we can assert that it will have three elements that we just added, 1 to 3. So let's start the test and see how does it behave. We can see that test passed. Similar situation we have for map. So we have a variant map. So the default one, map, is immutable. So we can create a map with some predefined elements. We can see that there are 2 pairs created. And then we are just printing every element. We can use for each, as you can see. We learned about it in the previous chapter. And we are printing key and value. But if you want to add new element to the immutable list or map, in this example, we are using the plus operator and we are just adding new element. And still we need to assign the new immutable map to the new value. We are assigning it to the B. Then if you assert, the first state's map will be exactly the same as we created it here, but the new map, that is immutable copy with one element appended, will have one additional record here, New York. So let's start the test. Test passed. And finally, we have an immutable version of the map. So similarly, if you are sure that you will access that structure from the one thread in a thread-safe way, you can use mutable map to construct the map. So this is basically a builder. So here we are using the plus equal operator. So you are adding element and reassigning this to the states. Then we are adding yet another element, yet another one. We can also minus equals sign. So it means that we are subtracting element from the map by key, or those keys will be subtracted, and at the end our map will be empty because we added AZ, we removed AZ key, we added CO, we removed CO key, and KY was added. And we can see that it was removed. But at this moment we are transforming it to map, so it will create new immutable copy that we can share safely within multiple threads and be sure that it won't be modified. So let's start the test. We can see that test passed.